Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Check it out. We're doing a sunset evening range test with the Parrot ANAFI drone, the new Parrot ANAFI. I've done unboxing, a in-depth flight test, and now we're going to do a range test in kind of an urban environment, light urban. We're going to be going through some power lines, and there's some residential area. We're just going to go, this is actually the same day I just did an Evo range test, and with the Evo, the Autel Evo, I got 3.5 miles out in this environment. So, you know, we'll see how far the Parrot ANAFI gets before it has to turn around or before the video becomes unreadable or the control. Let's see how it does. Okay guys, so I'm in free flight 6, and what I'm doing is I'm just kind of caching the map in real quick before I switch into airplane mode, just so I can kind of get a base map. If I'm in airplane mode, it's not going to be able to cache because I'm not going to have any internet. So I'm recording the screen for you guys. I'm going to go into airplane mode right now as we speak, turning on, going into flight mode, and we're going to record in 4K for this flight in HDR, just see how it does in low light. So we're just going to launch it straight out that way and see how far we can get. Real quick, I just want to make sure that I'm in I want to be in channel 6 for the Wi-Fi. I believe it's picking channel 8. That should actually be a good band in this circumstance right here, but I think I'm going to just force it to go to channel 6. And let's see how that works. Is that going to work? Is that my craft with the signal? What if I switch to 8? Yeah, it looks like there's somebody close to channel 6. So I'm just gonna, I guess it chose channel 8 perfectly, so we'll get out of that. And we're gonna launch right away, just so we're not burning power. Here we go. You can hear how quiet the ANAFI is, amazingly quiet. And we're gonna be in real quick. We're in sport mode, okay, good. So just gonna go full blast in sport mode, pick it up above the power lines here, and just right about there, and just go straight out. So you can see I'm only 11 meters high, and we're just going to go straight out as far as possible. I'm going to try to hold the controller kind of pointed at it, the antenna. So it's already poor Wi-Fi connection, you see that? So immediately we're getting a problem, and this is kind of how it's always been for me in Parrot drones. They just don't do good in residential areas whatsoever. Look at that. So we're already getting chopping up video. I just pulled the controller up a little bit. Wi-Fi, okay, very poor connection. How far are we? We're only at 542 meters, 43 meters. All right, well, we're just going to keep going until it just completely drops out and just doesn't return to home. Okay, we'll just see how far it gets. Maybe I'll just go up a little bit, possibly get away from some of this interference. It's still going, but it's just super choppy. Let's see if we kind of move the controller a bit. Now I'm pointing it more down to the ground. It may have come in a little better. Okay, we're just approaching 1,000 meters of distance. Again, I'll have the screen recording for you guys, and I'll have that 4K footage up in the HDR. You can see me. I'm still able to move the gimbal, but look at the FPV screen is just completely garbled. So you really can't make out much at all. You know, maybe enough to just make sure you're above the ground and stuff. Wow, farther than I actually thought this would go. Okay. So we're even going through the power lines. Maybe we'll be able to slightly get over this residential area. There's golf courses. I keep tilting kind of the controller down, so the top of this antenna is pointing directly at it. You know what I mean? And that seems to actually be working. Tilting the camera up. So I'm still in gimbal control, but as you can see, it's just completely blocky. Recording that screen FPV that I'm seeing, it's pretty bad. It looks like it's gonna totally drop out in just a second. Yeah, it's just Oh, it just got kind of clear. Is it gonna drop? I'm just kind of moving the controller up and down to see if possibly. Okay. It's still going, but as you can see, let me try to move the camera down a bit. Yeah, so that Wi-Fi signal is just pretty horrible at this range. And that's kind of what I thought this thing would do. There we go. I'm just staying very still and pointing the top of the controller directly at it, that direction, and it seems to be doing not too bad, but still super garbled. 2,000 meters. Well, that's unheard of on a Parrot drone in this area. I was only able to get like, gosh, maybe 500 meters with my Bebop 2 in here. So this is actually kind of promising. Wow, okay. Not bad. Oh, now it's smoothed out a little bit. Maybe because there's less interference between the drone and the controller. It's not in those bubbles of all the home Wi-Fi's. Do you see that? Now it's nice and smooth. And the video is not bad at all now. You know, still a little bit garbled, but way better than it was before. Let's just pitch the camera all the way down. Just the vacant sugarcane fields there. I'll have that 4K footage up so you can see that. Let's zoom into that real quick. See if we can zoom in. Oh yeah, I forgot you can't zoom in HDR. Sorry guys. If you're in HDR 4K mode, I'm gonna press 4K real quick so you can see that. You see that HDR in the middle bottom of the screen? I don't want to turn it off right now because it's gonna stop the recording. You have to be in regular non-HDR to be able to zoom, FYI. So picking it up to the horizon line, and it's, wow, it just came in kind of clear. Let's use this camera how it's meant to do. Go all the way up, the special feature. Look at that, we can look up at the clouds in the sky. Of course, there's nothing to look at up there. There's no planes or UFOs today, unfortunately, but there is a rain cloud there. It looks like I'm gonna go right into some rain, so maybe we'll get kind of a soak test with this thing. I'm just gonna keep going until it tells me to come back. Gosh, what's my power? It's 67% power. Okay, so this is far and beyond what I had ever thought this thing could. Okay, it's gonna return. All right, it's returning home. So it just did it by itself. I'm just gonna let it do its thing. Okay, so how far were we? 3,500 meters. So even in a residential, you can expect that. You just got to make sure you point the top of the controller directly at the craft. And it looks like you're gonna run into some pretty bad garbled screen on your FPV for a while. Did I go into airplane? Yeah, so I'm in airplane up there. Airplane mode. I still got a nice map because I pre-cached it before I went into airplane mode. Looks good. You can see which way you're turning the controller, that blue area, so you want that to be pointing directly at the craft. Here's what I want to do. I want to stop HDR mode on the fly here. I'm pressing HDR in the middle of the screen. And what that'll do is it'll stop recording, and now I'm in standard 4K. I'm going to start recording again so you guys can kind of see what it looks like between HDR and 4K in this range test. Let's tilt the gimbal all the way down, and now check this out. Now we can zoom in. So I'm going to pass over this water tank or whatever that is, and I'm going to zoom in to its maximum, and that's with lossless zoom on. So if you wanted to go further in, you turn off the lossless zoom, and that's in the settings here. Let me see if I can find that for you. Let's just get down so we got some view of the landscape while we go into our settings. So I'm pressing on that top gear to the right, and we're going to go over to camera, and we're going to take lossless zoom off. So we're going to say no, Okay, and now what, on the left side of the screen there, you see that 1.0 times. I'm going to zoom in all the way, and now check it out. We can zoom into the full 3 times zoom. That is the maximum capability of the ANAFI. Okay, so that's the residential area we just flew through. Can't see much at all with my FPV anymore. It's very garbled, but I'll have that high definition video up for you so you guys can see that. Just approaching the residential line here, and immediately on approaching homes and residential, look at this. It's in those Wi-Fi bubbles, so it's just getting terribly garbled up. So keep that in mind, guys. If you are flying this around residential, you'll get much better FPV if you keep it away from houses. So this was a pretty conservative automatic return to home voltage. You see how it's still got 53% remaining on the drone, and how far away are we now? We're 1,600 meters away. So really, I guess you could cancel that, and if it's perfectly calm, maybe just around like 50%, and you should be able to make it home. But let's see what it lands at. This is the initial range test I'm doing for this, so I didn't want to, you know, cancel return to home and push it too far without knowing what it can do. Once we come home and we know how much flight time we have left, or how much battery power percentage we have left, then the next range test will push it further to its complete maximum. And that's what I like to do. I just kind of like to, you know, get a feel for it before we push things to the maximum limits, just so we're not precariously just pushing it too far and then landing in somebody's yard or in a golf course over there and having to ditch it. Oh, I'm still in zoom. Okay, let's zoom out. I'm still all the way in 3.0 zoom, so the picture's probably kind of pixelated. So I'm going to zoom all the way out, and there we are. And let's pitch the camera down a bit, just so we can brighten that up just a tad. Again, this is the non-HDR right now. Boy, and look at the screen. So it's like completely frozen because we're getting close to these houses, and it's in the Wi-Fi bubble of all these homes. So it just, wow, look at that. So the video just completely crapped out. There it is, came back, and that's pretty close. That's only 658 meters away, and I do have the controller pointed in the same direction. So that's what you can expect with these Parrot drones. They're pretty susceptible to home Wi-Fi interference or residential interference. Again, okay, let's point the gimbal all the way up. Anything to see up here? Just some clouds. You know, it'd be neat to fly this maybe on a really clear night and get some star view of the stars. Perhaps, maybe a use. I plan to fly this over at my dad's place in Hoelo on the North Shore here of Maui, and get some underneath some waterfalls, maybe below some waterfalls, and really pitch that camera up and see how it looks. So I'm just gonna let it return to home land. My gosh, it's got 41% power on the drone left. So that was a super conservative return to home, guys. And there it is. It's just screaming back. Really amazing. And listen to how quiet this thing is. I'm just gonna stand like 10 feet away from it. My mic is super sensitive on my hat. And listen to how quiet that is. So there we go. Hey, thanks for tuning in and watching this range test. So when this thing lands, it stops there. So that's great. It's stopping at like 6.5, 7 feet. And it's letting you take over. So I'm going to turn it to the left, and I'm just going to land rear side facing me. You know, a little bit off. Maybe if I was to land right here, it would just hit that peg on the landing pad. So what I like to do is just bring it down. But I really do like that safety feature of how high it stops and lets you start to control. You could press land at any time if you wanted to land it, but I like to come down, and then it's not going to go any further than this. You see how it's like Well, it's saying negative 1 meter high, but obviously something's wrong with the sensor. But that's it there. So I like to either just pull down the stick, 1, 2, so about 2 seconds and it'll land, or you can also press landing or the landing button on here, screen or on the controller. And then it just stops the video from recording. That's a great feature. But check it out, 35% power left. We could have gone a lot longer flight time. So this is just the initial flight test with the ANAFI. The next one, we're really gonna push it. I may even do another one from here and just even try to push it farther, because remember when we got past the homes and all that Wi-Fi there, it was actually, the picture was becoming clearer because it wasn't within those bubbles of Wi-Fi from all the houses and stuff. So we're gonna come back on a nice day and push it past its maximum. If it had 35% landing, I think I could have pushed it for you know, another couple of minutes at least and gotten a lot further. So far very impressed with the ANAFI. Again, if you didn't check the other videos, guys, I've been doing a series on this, unboxing, setting up, updating, flight testing all the features. I did that with Sanaya. She was riding around the park and I was tracking her. And so check those videos if you haven't. I'll have those in the description, and also I'll have in the description of where you can get the ANAFI. If this thing impresses you and it's something you would like to get, don't forget I'll have the link in the description so you guys can get it straight from that link. So far very impressed with this drone. Look how small and light it is. It does just one quick power off. One of the things I don't really like about it is one press on the power, it just turns it off. So that could be a little bit dangerous, but otherwise, check out this thing. Boom, 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 boom. Look at that. It's so light and small, and it performs so well for how light and small it is. Amazing. Anyways, guys, I'll have the video up on this, the HDR, and the other 4K footage, non-HDR, and the screen recorded, so you can see that whole flight and judge for yourself how good this thing is. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.